Revisiting My Dreams with the King.
That I have yet to personally meet.
Wow, this gonna be good.
Meet face to face. So, yo, good people, welcome to another episode of The Ride, a journey towards your dreams. I am your host, Johnnie King III, aka Still Chill Leroy, and this is the Revisit Your Dreams podcast show, exclusively on the Revisit Your Dreams channel right here at youtube.com. As always, we have a very special guest and a very special episode for you today. But like always, I want to remind you what we're doing here at Revisit Your Dreams. Here at Revisit Your Dreams, we provide inspiration, motivation, encouragement. We explore real life stories of trial, error, and success, and maybe even provide a few laughs along the way. Welcome to season 4 of the podcast. Season 4 is titled Artisans. We are celebrating and highlighting artists in many different varieties in this season today. And today's very special guest is no different. My very special guest today is a Washington, D.C. native, confidently walking in her unique journey. She's an award-winning textured hair care professional. She authored and published a book titled Coming of Age, The Easy Guide to Healthy Hair Care for Teens, a resource designed to help young women build confidence, independence, and healthy self-care habits. She is the founder of No Ghostwriters Allowed, a series of virtual and in-person writing workshops that equip writers, authors, and content creators with the accountability, encouragement, and practical tools needed to complete meaningful projects and amplify their voices. She is rooted in a deep commitment to prayer, intercession, and biblical teaching. Keianna is passionate about helping individuals pursue purpose with clarity, courage, and conviction. Through consistent social engagement, she inspires others to embrace their God-given calling, strengthen their faith, and walk confidently in their unique journey. Please welcome to the show, making her first appearance on the ride, author, hairstylist, motivator, prayer intercessor, and more, Mrs. Kiana Johnson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you all so much for watching. Johnnie King, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm excited to be here, and we just gonna chat it up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I thank you for joining me today. I thank you for accepting the invitation. As a matter of fact, I like to let the audience know how I know each guest is like I like to start each episode. To this date, up until this point, every guest that I've interviewed has been somebody that I personally have met or been in their presence before and spent time with. This is my very first guest that I have yet to personally meet. Although we have had a number of, touch points of communication over the past few months, I've yet to personally meet this person, but I've been highly inspired by her social engagement, by her output on Facebook and different things. She's got a large social media following. She has a large social media presence, and she's very inspirational. So I'm looking forward to this interview. Miss Kiana, do you have any feedback on how we met or how we know each other so up to this point?
So one thing I want to say, I want to give a shout out to Miss Mo. You've interviewed her. You've been knowing her for many, many years. I met Miss Mo in, I want to say, July last year. She had a situation going on with her book and her editors. Like, she went through a couple of editors. And I was referred to her from a dear friend of mine who's also a hairstylist. But she knew that I had started to transition from hair to the authorship world. And so, Crystal referred Miss Mo to me. And so, but at this point, Miss Mo was real gangster with it. Like, look, in the mood for no shenanigans. Are you legit or not? And so I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
she's trying to
legit,
get it
Miss
done.
Mo. If you let me edit, maybe put a one chapter and you're forward, and I'll allow you to see it. If you feeling me, we can move forward. If not, no sweat. And so she was feeling me, but she said, let me just pray about it. So she prayed about it. And then she was like, well, let's continue. And when I say working with Miss Mo has been the best thing ever because one, I was in I had just started to begin some things in my authorship journey as, as it pertains to offering different types of services. I've only worked with really people that I know. And so Ms. Mo was the very first person that I had no, there was no blueprint, there was no nothing. We had no ties. We just met. And so she was
Wow.
just such a breath of fresh air. So we were able to get the editing done. We fell in love with each other, not in that way, y'all, but
Yeah.
I just she was just and then she's such a she's an inspiration to me because she
Mhm.
is a coach by nature. And so I didn't know that at the time I was working and starting new things and was just a little unsure about some things. She was like, girl, you got this. And so we encouraged each other, and the rest is history. She's my friend now. And so I'm excited to, have Miss Mo as a friend now.
That's awesome, man. I love Miss Mo myself, and the audience. If you haven't caught on, Miss Mo is the glue between the two
Yeah.
of us. Her book. Matter of fact, the book that Miss I thought I had it. Maybe I got it right here. This is not Miss Mo's episode, but if you've seen this book,
Yes.
this is the book that Miss Kiana Johnson edited for Miss Monica Shotwell. Monica Shotwell, I interviewed her, and that is the individual that linked the two of us together. Me and Miss Mo worked together for a year or so in the past. But either way it goes, that is the power of networking.
Yeah.
That is the power of connection. That is the power of reaching out and just speaking up. Just communicating with one another, not being afraid. Now I feel like I have another individual in Miss Kiana Johnson that I could refer to if need be when I get ready to write my book or tell my story or just want somebody to pray for me. You know what
Amen,
I
right?
mean?
Right. And collaboration is key, and I wasn't always that person that embraced collaboration because I used to really be afraid to work with people, but you got to try it. There are going to be moments where you enter into the wild, wild west. And then there are going to be
Mhm.
moments where it's going to be awesome moments just like this, but you'll never know if you don't try. So
Yep.
don't be afraid of something going wrong. It's going to happen sometimes, but then there are moments like this when everything is just awesome. So
That's a great word. That's a great. I told y'all she was inspiring, and I mean, like she's gonna be dropping nuggets. I already know. Like her page is full of nuggets and gems, and I could tell they come so just to her. So I'm looking forward to this. I'm gonna be just as much as inspired as you are, audience. So, all right, let's get to it, Kiana.
yeah,
Off top, you are an author
yes,
and an editor for other
yes.
writers, but you are also an award winning textured hair care professional, which basically means, y'all, she real good at doing black
Right.
people hair. But let's talk about that award for a minute.
Yes.
Award winning. How did you earn that award, and how was that recognition? How has that recognition impacted your life and your career?
No, it's interesting. It's been several awards. So, I started off as a children's hairstylist. So before even doing that, I used to work in daycare, and so I have a great rapport with children, and I love children, and that's really my I'll say back then because as I'm getting older, me and the children. But as you get older, things change. But they were my comfortability, And so when I started off in hair, I was a blogger at first. So I would just go to these hair events, blogging about the events. And then the event hosts loved what I was doing. So they would pay me to cover their events, and so I was like, no. So then, as I was doing that, talking about hair on my platform, there was a stylist that said, Kiana, if you're going to be hanging out with us and then you're blogging about hairstyling, you need to go get your credentials because at some point, you're not going to be a credible source talking about hair
Mhm.
and you don't know nothing. So I said, well, okay. I went to the hair school she recommended, but I only went for blogging purposes. I didn't
Yeah, you just
initially,
trying to
I
learn
didn't
what
go
you
at
needed to know, so write
first
about it.
to be a stylist, So I went there so I could gain the information so my blog can keep popping. And so the instructor there, I went to a school called Madam Walker's Braidery in Schools. And so they teach about texture, hair, business, sanitation, like everything that a stylist needs to know. And so the instructor was saying, "Well, why are you here?" I said, "Oh, for my blog." And she was like, "No, you're not going to come through these doors and then just do this for your blog. We're going to push you out there." And so I just told her my comfortability were with children. And that's how the children's hairstylist thing came about. And as I continue on, I was getting awards here in the area, being Children's Stylist of the Year twice. I received
Wow.
the prestigious award, the Master Pioneer Award, for my contribution to the natural hair industry. And so I'm just excited. I'm just doing things because I enjoy doing it. I didn't know that it was people were really watching like that. And I'm doing
Hmm.
all of that with my hair salon in my house.
Wow.
So to
Wow.
those who people say you can't, yes, you can. You can set your home up as a professional
Hmm.
business, if your neighborhood allows it, and you can
Hmm.
flourish.
I am so intrigued by that whole story and genuinely intrigued. I'm not just saying that because I'm a podcast host. I am genuinely intrigued by that story because it says that, first of all, you had the courage to just go out and blog about something you had little knowledge
Mhm.
about. You're like, I like it, so I'm just going to talk about it.
Yes.
And that's just you being you, you wanting to express yourself, you having an idea and saying, I'm not going to let lack of knowledge or
Mhm.
nothing stop me. I'm just going to show up and start doing it. So that's something for you audience to
Yeah.
take in. The other thing is you didn't just start with finish stop with blogging. You went on to go to travel to hair shows and things like that so you could be in the real environment and then blog about that. And that's how you made the connection with the individuals who eventually told you
Yeah.
you better go get some degrees or something. You better go get some, some real paper behind this, behind these blogs before you get called out on the carpet,
Right.
right? And you took it, and then even then you were like, okay, I'm just going to do it because I want to know about blogging. But you never knew how it would impact you to the tune of I want to learn this and become good at what I'm doing, and then just out of your sheer passion of doing it, love for doing it, you are recognized and you weren't even attempting to do that to get recognized. I love that entire story. On top of that, I relate to doing hair out of your home.
Yeah.
My mother, my mother was a beautician my entire life. My grandmother started her beauty salon, LaKenya's Beauty Salon in Vallejo, California, many, many, many years ago. She's deceased by now, but and my mother's still alive. She's no longer doing hair, but she at once did hair out of her
Mhm.
home for several years. Had a lot of clientele out of her home. So I'm truly inspired by that story. I thank you for sharing that. That's amazing to me. What types of hair events you talk about, where has those hair events taken you over the years?
Yeah, over the years, so I originally started just attending local hair events. So it was like one event that I thought was very unique. It was called Nappy. And so it was like a mixture of karaoke and natural hair. And I've never seen anything like it. Her name was Tempe Satcher. She used to host these all the time. And then she started hosting other events. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. Natural hair. And these people will show up with big hair and stuff. And so I was just intrigued by like a lot of black excellence. It was just people
Hmm.
were embracing natural hair. And I wasn't natural all like that. Like I just literally just came into it. So my interest in natural hair was really for myself to learn about natural hair because my husband he loves natural hair and he didn't like me
Hmm.
wearing wigs and all of that stuff, which I still love my wigs. Now, don't play about my wigs. I noticed he would compliment women who had that type of hair. And so I was like,
Hmm.
all right, here we go. So I just wanted to learn. That's the only reason why I did that. But those shows took me to New York. There were other shows that I went to. Atlanta is the hub of all different
Hmm.
types of hair shows. And so I was able to travel. I worked with a couple of people, and we ended up just doing partnerships with other big organizations like Paul Mitchell and different things. And so hair has gotten me into big rooms that I never thought that I would get into. And so I don't, even though I'm not really in that lane as a stylist today, but I do help stylists like those who want to write their books. They reach out. So that's the
Hmm.
other connection of it. I'm thinking that this is a forever career, not realizing the writing was the forever career. And I'm giving other stylists the opportunity to begin to write their books and stuff. They wanted to do it, they may not have known how, and now they have someone that they're familiar with who can help them build their legacy. And so it's just interesting. It's just unfolding, and I'm just literally living, but I'm not, it's like, it's not really a plan. I'm just like, what in
Yeah.
the heck is happening?
It's called alignment. It's called
Alignment. I was,
alignment, and you are in it. You started out with blogging.
mhm,
Now that transition to the writing part, and you start out blogging in the hair area, and so now, so you're just in alignment. You're where you're supposed to be. That's why it feels like it feels. It's kind of like this podcast. So, thank you very much for sharing all of that, man. I remember going to hair shows with my mom. I remember at least three. One was in Atlanta, one was in Los Angeles, one was in San Francisco. I'm from the Bay Area, so I've been
okay.
to but I remember going to hair shows. I remember my mom being on the main
Mhm.
stage, being the person doing the hair that everybody's watching her do this hairstyle. Like I remember those days, man. So very, very interesting. When was the moment or the event in your life that pushed you toward a passion for hair care? I know that you talked about going to that show, going to shows and meeting someone and someone encouraging you to go ahead and do it. But was there something in your personal life or something in your children's life or somebody you knew that said, you know what, I really, now that I see this vision, I'm going to embrace this and pursue it wholeheartedly? The hair care portion
So
of your journey.
I'll say hair care, it really came from a place of me being down on my luck. Like I shared, I worked in like the school system, and then daycare was the main thing. I have 5 children. And so I have a set of twins, and one has autism. And so he
Okay.
needed therapy twice a week. And it just wasn't working for my job like that. They allowed it when he just needed therapy once a week. But when he needed it
Mhm.
twice a week, it kind of was just like a conflict of interest. So my husband was like, well, why don't you just stay home? That sounded like a brilliant idea at first. But the first 2 years, I'm not gonna lie, I was miserable. Like I hated being home, and I thought it would be great. It wasn't great for me. It was, my mental health was off the hook because I was just like,
Yeah.
I want my own money. I understand what he's saying. It makes sense, but because it was nowhere else that was going to accommodate what my son needed. And so hair is a learned skill for me. My sister
Hmm.
who does hair, she's been doing it since a little girl. So that is like her passion. That was something. But for me, I had to learn how to do hair. And because I was learning about natural hair, learning about texture hair, I kind of just got in that way. And then because I was able to start off first with little cousins' hair, people
Hmm.
dropping their kids off, girl, this hair is terrible. And I'm like, well, let me try something. And I was thankful, like, even if I show you some of the hairstyles from the beginning, Johnny, I was like, these people really took a risk because them cornrows was looking like Shonda from that Tyler Perry wig. Them little baggy cornrows. But the more I kept practicing, it got better. But they were
Yeah.
still sending the kids, and so I started to fall in love with the practice of it all because I had a
Mhm.
situation where I could not make any money. I was home, but it worked for my family because then I could say, all right, he's at my son at school. I can do hair around this time, or on Fridays or the weekends, I can do it around this time, still make some money, still be in tune with my family. And it worked. So it wasn't a
Hmm.
passion, it was a learned skill.
Okay. And I appreciate that transparency,
Mhm,
because not everything it starts out as a passion.
mhm,
Sometimes it starts out as just something that you learn to do and you embrace it for a different reason, economically or something in your family. Like, I just have to do this. This is something I need to do to pass the time. And over time, it becomes
yeah,
something more. Over time, when you start developing a relationship with those children and those families, and they keep coming back and giving you the opportunity to grow
yeah,
yourself, then it becomes more of like, okay, this feels more like why, there's more purpose in it than just doing it so you can know what to talk about.
mhm.
You know what I mean? um Are you familiar with the UCDA versus the District DC Columbia case in 1992? I don't know if I'm saying the name right,
What was?
but there was a couple. I believe they're the owners of Cornrows and Company that's located out there somewhere where you
Mhm.
are. They sued DC in 1992. Um, at that time, DC required stylists that braided African hair or black hair to take 1,600 hours of instruction to earn a license to legally operate their braiding business. But that course of instruction for 16 hours had 0 hours of instruction on how to braid African hair.
So I'm not
And
familiar with
so,
that case, but this is the ongoing conversation in the hair industry, and
mhm,
I be trying to tread lightly, with because it's all about cosmetology trying to take over, but natural hair is a cultural skill. We grew up
yeah,
with this. This is our culture. So how can you take our culture? You don't talk about it for real. You don't. Your
yeah,
people who even go to cosmetology school don't even want to do natural hair. They want to, they want to curl their hair. They want that quick transaction. Natural hair is just different, and it's more intimate. It is more like, and not saying that people who style hair as cosmetologists, because they do have a place in the industry. They really do, but they do things differently. The hair is transforming from its natural state. So yes, you should know what you're doing. We ain't trying to hurt
mhm,
and harm nobody. And I would say for
mhm,
natural hairstylists, the same like sanitation. So you can take a sanitation class if you are, styling other people's hair. But this is our
mhm,
culture, and so we are learning from our ancestors or people who know how to style hair. So how do you just try to slap on something just so you can get some money from us? Let us be.
mhm,
Let us
mhm,
be.
mhm. I totally love that. There's a lot. I know a lot of people that are hairstylists. I know people, especially out here. There's a big community of people that do hairstyles of all different types.
Mhm,
Whether they're cutting and fading or braiding or pressing comb, all of that kind of
mhm.
stuff. Well, I don't know, pressing combs exist no
Oh,
more,
they
but
do.
uh,
People still use them, but you gotta
people
be
still use them,
skilled to
man.
use them. If I use them
Yeah,
because I'm not skilled,
somebody getting burned.
baby, somebody get burnt, hair coming out.
I already know about it, man. I know about it. I done seen a lot of people get burnt. It wasn't me either. I was just a kid watching.
Right. See, y'all males get to watch on the side like your sisters and your cousins them get pressed out, little sizzle here
Man,
on your shoulder, sizzle
you can
on your
hear the
cheek.
sizzle, the tss, you can hear it, you can smell it. Man, that's all too familiar for me. Um, but I thought it was interesting that, and I realize now that my daughter has had her hair braided multiple times
Mhm,
from different people throughout the years, and there has been a conversation that's come up in the past that I recall, like this person they don't have a license to do
mhm,
anything. I'm like, and I didn't understand, one, why there was a need for it, and two, why there was an expectation for them to have it by the state or the federal government,
mhm.
when, like you said, it is such a cultural thing and they're not teaching that. Like, why are you anticipating, it, and it's because, like you said, it's really for money.
It's
They're
yeah.
just really trying to make as much money as they possibly can. But that case, they successfully, even though they lost the suit originally,
Mhm,
after all the follow through and after it all shook out, that lawsuit successfully eliminated what was considered a Jim Crow era of a cosmetology barrier
mhm,
in the DC area, whereas now braiders of African hair and African American hair don't have to go get this expensive license in order to do what they're doing.
mhm,
So I thought that was interesting. I mean, and maybe I'm incorrect about that final statement, but this is what I saw online in doing some research the other day.
mhm.
Um, your book. Let's talk about your book, Coming of
Okay, I
Age.
do have it.
Uh, yeah, show the audience
Here
that
is it,
book,
you
Coming of
guys.
Age, the Easy Guide to Healthy Healthcare for Teens. That book can be found on Amazon.com, and I'll let her tell you where else it can be found. But talk about the book, who it's for, and how buyers of the book will benefit from it.
Well, the book started off as it was going to be like a pamphlet for my clients. So what was happening is the parents would bring them kids to me from like 2 up into maybe about 12, and then I wouldn't see them anymore. Maybe 11, 12, I wouldn't see them
Mm,
anymore, and then about 14, 13, 14, they come back. That long hair that we done trained and helped grow all them years is now just chopped up, jacked up. Like it was just so much going on. And the parents assumed that because their children was of a certain age, that meant, oh, you can just go ahead and style your hair or care for your hair. And if we don't show them, how would they
mhm.
know? So they're just winging it, doing the best they can, and then you're bringing them back. And the way you bring them back is like, well, they should have listened. Listen to who? You wasn't teaching them nothing. So I was like, well, let me just
Right.
create like a pamphlet just in case, because I'm not the type of stylist where you have to come to me. You go to wherever you want. You are the one with the money. You have a choice to do what you want to do. I did hate that, that there was a transition, but I was like, well, let me just make a pamphlet or something so that when they get to that age, I can just give them a little pamphlet or whatever. As I'm writing, the pamphlets start growing and getting bigger. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe this could be a book. So I write the entire book, and it was just supposed to be for my clients. But someone gave me the idea to have a focus group to see what the teens thought about what I was writing. So I had a focus group of like 10 teens. I let them read it. And when they came back, they tore me up. They wanted
Chop the
to
book in
chop
half, huh?
me up. They was like, this isn't what I want to know. They began to even like critique where the numbers were on the pages. They were like, yeah, I like my
Mm,
numbers at the bottom of the page. Then they start talking about magazine style, and I've never heard of magazine style as far as like set up like for put the
mhm,
book together. I never heard of that. So
mhm,
I did ask someone, and it was like, oh yeah, it's the way, this is what magazines look like. I didn't know it was a style. Of course, I've had
mhm,
magazines.
mhm,
I just didn't know. So they liked that style. And then they showed
mhm,
me or told me what it was that they wanted to learn. So I assumed that they wanted to learn how to style hair like this, but they really wanted to know how to take hairstyles down, how often to shampoo their hair. Like they wanted to know like the basics of hair care. And then I had to
mhm,
add those girls with locks. They didn't have a lot of representation as far as like, education in print form. Everybody's talking
mhm,
about braids, everybody's talking about, loose natural hair. People weren't really addressing the journey for girls and locks.
right.
And so I
Yeah.
decided to cover all of that, loose natural hair, braiding hair, weaves, as well as lock care. And so each of them has their own chapter. And then even with locks, most of them are not styling their hair themselves or maintenance their hair themselves. I was just giving them tips for well, here you go. If you are doing that, which is probably going to be difficult for them, but this is who you look for to maintain your locks. And then this is how you
Mhm,
take care of them in between salon visits. And so it's that type of
mhm,
easy guide. And then encouraging them, like, if you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. The blessing with
yeah.
natural hair, you really can walk out of here. I could just, if you, first of all, if I showed you this side of the head, because I'm growing this side back, and so it's shaved here. I got me some Kevin
Mhm.
Durant's under here, but some
Hey, I appreciate it.
with natural hair, even if I flipped it over and took a sponge and just made those, my little curly hair over here look away, natural hair is so versatile. You really don't have a bad hair day, with natural
Mhm,
hair. And so I just try to encourage the girls that way. And then in the back of the book, they have like a journal where they can kind of talk about the different styles of hair they like. I even address like it's not just products because some children are vegan, some, and so I address even lifestyle in how you
Wow.
choose, in your product choosing, because not everyone can just go to the beauty supply store and pick up something. Those who have a different type of lifestyle, they can't. So they're more natural. So I just showed them what direction to go. Either way, there is a choice in how you are and what you choose for your hair.
Wow. You guys are looking at a natural hair care professional, natural hair care guru. She wrote a book called Coming of Age, uh, The Easy Guide to Healthy Health Care for Teens. That sounds amazing. If you have a teen, if your skin is melanated like mine and hers, and your hair, you got a teen that hair is like ours, you need to get this book because I have
Okay.
two teens. I have had my three other older kids, they're gone, but they was teens once too.
Yes.
We had hair care issues with all of them. And if I had a guide to help me as a father or help my wife understand how to better care for their hair or how to better teach them how to care for their hair or hand them a guide to say, here, learn how to take care of your own hair. My daughter's about to go to college right now and it's going to be up to her. She's not going to have my wife in her ear every
Hmm.
day. So that might be a guide. This is a great book for you guys to purchase, to share with your family, to have in the household. Just to have it in every black household should probably have this book. I'm serious. So thank you for sharing all that. Are there universal tips in the book that may apply to teenage boys with long hair or locks?
It can, but Johnny, I have something that's coming out specifically for the young men. Now, it's not going to be in a book form. It's going to be in a form, and I could talk about it because it's already in the production. I'm just getting it ready to be out there. It's like a ring with just tips around it. So, like, it's 10 different types of cards on the ring, and it shows them how to shampoo their hair properly, how to clean out their combs and brushes, because sometimes you're gonna be brushing your hair throughout the days. Your brush get dirty, your comb gets dirty. So
Mhm.
how often to shampoo your bonnet or your little do rag? These are
I
universal
love it.
things. Girls know, and the young men know. And so with the young men, though, I didn't want to lock them into a book, but I have something for
Wise.
them. It's coming.
Very wise. I love it. I love it. I'm eating it up. I love it. To just the way that you're conceptualizing the whole idea of making sure that teens have access, easy access,
Mhm.
easily digestible access to understanding how to care for their hair, even to the tune of I don't want to lock boys into a book. They might not sit there and read. They on the go, but throw this on. They could clip this to their bag, clip it to something in their
Mhm.
room or in the bathroom, and flip through it real fast. Oh yeah, I forgot how to do this. Let me, because that's pretty much what a boy is gonna do. If I hand my son the book, he gonna go straight to the page that's talks specifically about locks, and that's probably be the only page he open.
Mhm. Right.
He won't open nothing else. So the way you're doing it is awesome. I think that's great. Audience, I hope you're inspired. I hope you're intrigued. I told you she's inspiring, and she's showing you that if you think outside the box, you can create solutions for yourself and other people that they don't even know they need until you create it. You just got to create it. Don't think it's small. Don't think it's
Mhm.
unnecessary. When she wrote this book, she knew she had people that would benefit from it, but now it is expanded to now doing it for young men, so more people are going to be benefiting from it. And after this episode and after her continuing to promote her book and promote her, tell her story, on other platforms, it's just going to spread. So y'all go order that book, Coming of Age, The Easy Guide to Healthy Health Care for Teens. All right, let's talk about No Ghostwriters Allowed. I love that title. Because in the music world, ghostwriters relate to someone who you're gonna copy, where you're gonna create something and give it to somebody else, and they're gonna put it out as if they wrote it. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Right.
Express
Right.
yourself. Express yourself. All right.
Express
I love that
yourself.
title. Talk about your writing workshop and what benefits creators gain from participating in that workshop series.
Okay, so no ghostwriters allowed. It's really the workshop itself is going to be 1 year old in July. So July 10th is his first birthday. But I did have the opportunity in maybe about 4 years ago. No Ghostwriters Allowed was I was partnered with some women, and we had a retreat in Jamaica. So that was the first time I was able to, I don't know, I would say roll it out. I enjoyed this whole thing about no ghostwriters allowed because I think people don't believe that they can create things. And it took
Mhm.
me a long time to gain self-confidence. Like I would have ideas all the time, but because there was a time in my life I would look at someone else and be like, they are so amazing. They are so bright. And I didn't
Mhm.
necessarily look at myself like that, but I would have all these ideas and they would just sit until I start talking to friends about things. And they're like, Kiana, this is awesome. This is brilliant or whatever. And so I wanted to take that encouragement that I got from friends and share that because it was a retreat for hairstylists. They want, it was like R&R. You guys can create your own content. It was just so many workshops about mental health and just relaxing and so that you can recharge so you can be better to serve your clients. And so when I had no ghostwriters allowed there, they were able to create their own slogans, create their own just like quick little inspirational messages. And they were like, oh my God, I didn't know if I just took some quiet time that I can do that. And so after that, I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then it went dormant. Nothing else with it. And so I wanted to bring it back, but I didn't know how it was going to be. So I started off as virtual. So every single Thursday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I provide a space for creators. So if you're a writer, you do journals, what you call it, journals, articles, but the real plug for me was that I wanted to connect with authors because I am in that authorship lane. So the big plug is authors. If y'all want to begin your authorship journey, don't worry about us like putting a book together. You need an opportunity to write your book. ChatGPT is amazing. Y'all, because I work with ChatGPT so much in like AI's platforms, I can hear it when people standing up giving a message, I'm like, Chat GBT done blessed you. Like
Mhm.
I can hear the formula of it all. So it's like I just want to encourage people that if you sit down, your brilliant mind can write out your message. And so it's for people who are authors on their authorship journey, writing, even content creators. You can use that 1 hour, plan and schedule out your content and it's free for everyone. Now the in-person events, they're paid, but that's just to give the writers a different type of experience, like community. So we're eating, we're talking, we have writing time, and everybody is just kind of feeding off each other. But the whole goal is for people to embrace their authentic voice. Even the way you write is fine. If an urbanite like me, I'm from DC, you can write according to how you talk. If you talk slang, it's still marketable, it's still,
Mhm.
people will embrace it, but we got
People
to have
still
the
read it.
confidence to do it. And so I kind of focus on that with no ghostwriters.
Yeah. You just keep stacking on the inspiration. Just keep stacking it up. Like if there's a book in there, there's no reason that it shouldn't be coming out. There is a provision of space that
Yeah,
helps you get that book out and encourages you to get it out without using necessarily AI, Chat
mhm.
GPT. There's nothing wrong with those
No,
tools, using
exactly.
them as tools.
Mhm.
But when they become the voice, now there's no authenticity there. And anyone can write a book just letting AI do all the
And
work.
there's laws
But
coming out now. And so this is the scary part. There's so many people who have written books like that. And now Amazon is cracking down because there was a lawsuit recently where someone created a book with AI, used AI image, and an artist saw that their watermark was on this book. So there were back end lawsuits about, well, where's AI pulling this, where's, these platforms pulling this information from? And so now Amazon, like, look, we're gonna protect ourselves. We want to know, is your content AI generated? If you say no and we find out, they're going to shut your platform down and you will not be able to re-upload. And I think Ingram Spark is on that same path because they don't want their big business to be destroyed, and so you have to acknowledge if you have or not. And then I will also encourage people who are writing books, if you haven't have a copyright of your book. Now you could put the copyright symbols and stuff in your book, and that's fine. That's still your intellectual property. But if someone decides that they wanted to claim coming of age as their own, and I don't have the paperwork from the government stating that I've copywritten this book, and with Amazon, they want that information within 5 days. If you don't have it, they shutting down your platform. You won't be able to sell your book or anything. And so it's just, if you're going to use it, which is fine, because I would say to someone who's new to writing, you can use AI tools to help you format, like not necessarily format, create your outlines and stuff like that to give
Hmm.
you some organization. But if you really sit down and you are the expert, like Johnny, I know you can write a book about podcasting from your own perspective, and people will take it and learn from it. And but nobody can tell it like Johnny. Even if there's a lot of
Yeah.
podcasting books out there, nobody ain't talking about it like Johnny, And so, and that's your
Mhm.
authentic voice. So you can do that.
Man, you put trying to push a book out of
Oh,
me,
yeah.
man. Come on, man. I'm already busy enough. No, I ain't got
The
time. No, I'm
people
just kidding.
gotta know how to sound great out here. Johnny did great. You gotta tell me.
I love it. I love it, Kiana. Man, we definitely gonna, I don't be surprised. I hop in one of those sessions one day and then become a regular.
No, that's gonna be
Ghostwriters
awesome.
allowed.
I will say, no ghostwriters. Like, you gotta be in the zone of what you want because it's a silent writing workshop. So one of the things I learned early on when I created, I was like, oh, I'm gonna have some music up in here and doing all this stuff. Then people was like, oh, I can't write to that type of music. So the Zoom room is quiet. I just encourage them to set the atmosphere in their own environment. So get your music, get your coffee, get your candles, however you get yourself in that zone. It's just a space for accountability. And then if you have questions after the session, I'm there to provide questions. We do have another editor and book formatter in the group, so sometimes she'll just help them, with whatever questions. Or if people are locked in the zone after the hour, they'll quietly leave so they can stay in the zone. Or people will do 30 minutes and be out. But it's just a space for them to just get their writing done for free. Accountability.
Yeah, that's awesome to be able to see other people,
Mhm.
going through the same process, to see that we're not in this alone. I'm not the only one on a writing journey that's trying to get ideas and thoughts out. And being in the communal space, like you said, the accountability,
Mhm.
it forces you to take an hour out of your time and actually put pen to pad
Yeah.
or type it out, whatever you're doing. But it actually, you're carving out time intentionally for it, as opposed to saying I'll write when I have some time. So I think this is dope. Since you started this venture, No Ghostwriters Allowed, how many writers have you worked with, and how many of them have gone on to have their work or writings published?
So, and I'll give a shout out to this woman named Lynette Rochelle. She started off in the group, and then she went on. Once she finished writing her book, she has two books out. Even though I didn't edit it or anything like that, I still feel responsible for allowing my sister to have the opportunity to write with other writers and to just share her heart. There are some who are in there and they're just like, Kiana, this is hard, and I'm like, well, tap in this way or do something, take another route, or go to a restaurant that allow people to come in and write. Just change your scenery and you will see. I have another young lady, her book is almost out. She's writing about hair. Well, the book is already out. She's just updating her manuscript. So I just feel good about it. But Miss Mo was the because she came in August and I had just started No Ghostwriters. So she inspired just by our interaction with her book on how to handle people with care, because Miss Mo gave me, you know how Erica Badu, like I'm sensitive about my,
Yeah, I'm an artist
about,
and I'm
that
sensitive
was
about
Miss
my
Mo's
stuff.
baby. And so she showed me to make
That's
sure that I'm
funny.
handling people with care because these are stories that are near and dear to people's heart. And so I have to just be like, okay, be the support. But yeah, books are coming out, and even my prayer book. Yeah, and I know the people that's gonna watch this podcast, they're like, girl, I'm sick of hearing about you in this prayer book. I've had many transitions with this book. Like it's about prayer. It's called The Power of Prayer and the War Within. Talking about, addressing, yeah, there's power in prayer, but then we have our own personal wars. I share with one of
Hmm.
my wars was low self-confidence. You could be pouring into me, Johnny, and I'm still just blinking like it just didn't connect. So I want to talk to the people who are like, I know I'm supposed to do this. I know prayer is real, God is real, all this stuff, but I'm struggling inside. I'm mad. I got anger problems. And how do you address that? And I think telling the truth about the different things. So I do share transparent stories. But when I first started writing the book, Johnny, it was all flesh. I was just carrying
Hmm.
on, and God let me do it. And He said, "All right, toss that. You ain't about to represent
Yeah.
me with that." And then the next,
Well, it's like taking a shower. You had to clean off the dirt first to be able to put on clean clothes to go out and present.
no, that's serious. And so now, after tossing it out and starting from square one, and now, because I'm in ministry and training school as well, you know, having the theological part of it, but also not losing the human part. Like, I think I love being a Christian. I love my Christian people. Christian people, y'all watching, y'all know I love y'all. I think they don't talk about the human experience enough. And when people have human experiences, people weaponizing the word of God against people having a human experience. If I'm afraid, I don't want to hear you say, God didn't give you a spirit of fear. Tell me, what do you do with your fear when you are afraid?
Right. Because you get scared too, I
We
guarantee it.
all do, Johnny. And so it's
And I know you might say that phrase to yourself, you might say that scripture to yourself, God hasn't given me the spirit of fear, but what are you actually doing after you say that? What are you doing to calm yourself down and eliminate that fear?
what do you
You
do?
know?
And I always talk about therapy. I think, being a believer and therapy works hand in hand. I think God put it in place for us to grow. Johnny, I am in therapy once a week, and I also am a part of group grief therapy because my mom, it'll be 4 years since her passing. So, I go once a month to the group to just discuss things. But I think processing out loud, community is a big deal. I'm learning. I used to always be a person, I don't want to be around people. But the more people you are around, yes, it's going to be trial and error. You're going to get caught up with a person that it just didn't mash well. Yes, your feelings is going to get hurt, but you just go back out there and learn from what you learned from this experience so that you can be better for the next experience. But don't hide out. Be able to process out loud with trusted people. And I think that's why God say, assemble yourselves together with other believers, because He know the human experience is tough, and we're going to need advice from other people along with the word. The word is the main thing, but what is your human experience? That's the way we heal. And so that's what that book is going to be about, me sharing personal stories, human experience stories, to give someone else the opportunity to be like, I ain't crazy. Because I'm telling you, when I first
Yeah.
went to group grief counseling, Johnny, because I was feeling the way about family and just different people, and I went in that setting, and them people's like, yeah, I had to cut grandma off, got her out the group chat, kicked everybody out, and I was like, oh, I ain't the only one.
Yeah.
Kick everybody out the group
These are
chat.
real
I want to
human
block
lives.
everybody too. But you talk through it, that human experience. Now I don't feel that way about my family, but I had to put language to my feelings. And someone said, girl, you ain't crazy. You just feel hurt. or you feel abandoned, or you feel like somebody's using you. And then this is what you do to navigate that space along with the word of God. So that's where, I just really want to tap into that, Johnny, because it's people are killing themselves out here because they feel like they're the only ones suffering from something, and we're not sharing the things. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
even with this, me writing and stuff, Johnny, like I used to be a functioning illiterate up to eighth grade. I was cutting up in school. I was off the hook. And one teacher asked me, she was like, "Why do you act like that?" And I'm like, "You keep wanting me to read in front of people, and you know that I don't know how to read. Why are you doing that?" And she was like, "Well, I didn't know." And so she began to teach me how. When I went to the next high school, she hooked me up with someone who would continue on with what she was teaching. And then that's how, and so I love books and stuff for that reason, because I didn't know how. What you call the kids in a slow group, like, and that's why I don't like people
Yeah.
labeling kids. I was in a slow group, and so I think all of that negativity is what had me with this low self confidence. Like I just couldn't see myself be good or great or do great things because there was always a limitation. And so I just want people to know, whatever your limitation is, you can still be great. If you can't write, there are platforms where you can speak into it and they'll write your book, but it's still your
Yeah. Yeah.
authentic voice.
Exactly. Exactly. Man, your superpower is breakthrough.
Oh, I
Like
received that.
every
Wow.
every every
Jesus.
that's just what I see.
Mhm.
Your superpower is breakthrough. At every phase, you find a way to break through what was a limitation of some sort, whether you created it or you felt it was created by something else. You broke through. Like
Wow.
writing, okay, how can I get this blog off? Well, I gotta expand upon it, start traveling. Okay, and now I gotta expand upon my knowledge of hair care. Now I'm gonna actually start doing people hair. Now I'm gonna start showing people how to care for their hair. Now I'm gonna provide them a guide for them to
Wow.
to do it. And now, these people, now that I've done that, I got the experience of writing a book. So I'm gonna go ahead and help other people learn this experience through all of those are personal breakthroughs, but you are breaking through the noise to help other people discover that same thing. That's your superpower. Like
Wow.
I at every turn, it sounds like you embrace a concept, and then you find a way to share it and give it to others and empower them with that same ability. I think that's amazing. I told y'all she was inspiring. I'm inspired. Like, you made me want to go ahead and start writing my book for real. It's in there. I interviewed one of my friends from my hometown, Michelle Lamons Rayford. She has her book um, site, I think, is Amplify Your Voices. So when you
Mm.
send me a description that said Amplify Your Voice, and talking about your authentic voice, it carries on in that same theme. I'm just inspired by all of that. All right, you were born and raised, and I'm also inspired by the fact that you are transparent about
Mm.
disability to read at a younger age, inability to read
Mhm.
it, not a disability, inability to, at this stage, now you're not only just writing your own books, but helping others write books. Just the power of just pushing through, perseverance, not giving up on yourself, realizing that you can be more, and giving yourself the opportunity to be more. Sometimes we don't give ourselves, we get stuck in our own head and we stay there.
Mhm.
We won't even let someone else help us out of it. We want to stay there. And in order for you to improve, in order for you to jump leaps and bounds and help other people, you got to come up outside of yourself a little bit. And I think that's amazing. But you were born and raised and lived your entire life on the East Coast in the DC and Maryland area, right?
Yes.
So, what aspect of your life growing up on the East Coast would you say helped you understand and embrace people from other parts of the country? For
Mhm.
example, I'm from the West Coast, from California. I would say that being from a place that's extremely diverse
Mhm.
allows me to embrace all cultures.
Mhm.
What what thing about growing up in the East Coast maybe helps you embrace other people?
So it's interesting, Johnny, that you're talking this because I feel like I get diversity through my children. Because DC is like a place where everybody was black. Now it's, way more diverse than it was. But growing up, my teachers were black, my doctors were black, my mayor, all the power players in the city were black. I may have had one white teacher in high school, like everybody was black. So I was just around black people all the time. And then my children are now growing up with diversity and stuff like that. They have best friends. Like my youngest daughter, her best friend is Pakistani. Her mother is a ball of fun. But I remember the first time meeting her, I wasn't sure what I was going to be walking into. It was I going to be like the sore thumb in the room or whatever. Mama is beautiful, and then she's always inviting me around her culture of friends, so I'm getting that as an adult where I didn't have that as a child, and diversity. I would say I did used to hear a lot of bad things about other races because I wasn't around it. Now understanding people have the same stories that we have. We I say we like Black Americans, because that's my experience, that's who I am, but I'll mention my daughter friend, her mom's Pakistani. They have the same concerns that we have. They love their children, they love their families, they love their culture. We don't have the same religious background, but we're still friends. We're still good to each other. And so I'm learning that as an adult, Johnny. I wish I had that experience. I remember the first time my boys, they have all different types of friends, and they were all outside playing basketball. We had a basketball court out front of my house. So I heard one of the other kids call my son the N word. I'm come running out the house. He was, Dad, you don't you talk like that. He was like, Mom, everybody's saying it. And my husband's like, Key, it's not like what you think. Now I know some people that's gonna be watching this gonna be like, Kiana, no, you were right. It is like that, but we just gotta calm down, and I feel weird to say this on a podcast because I don't want the people to cancel me.
Are you good?
To cancel me, but
You're a human having a human
yes,
experience.
And the kids don't think of it like that. There are instances when that it is a full-fledged attack on you or whatever. And then there are instances they all just kind of, they're saying it to each other, not just black slurs, but other like they're just different. And so I'm learning to calm down. Like, because from my own lack of experience, I'm thinking, folks, I'm ready to come out there with a pitchfork. Which one y'all talking about my child? Don't talk
Yeah,
about my
yeah.
child like that. But they were just playing. And so, like, what about you though, Johnny? Like you say you grew up, on the East Coast. How do you feel living on this side? Like you're on the
I grew
West, you had
I
the
grew up
West
on the
Coast.
West Coast, but I live in Tennessee.
Okay.
So half of my life was in California. Born and raised there. Graduated from high school when I in June of 1992, and then 4 days after I graduated from high school, I was here in Nashville. So half of my even though I went to school here 4 years. I went back home. I lived there for 4 years, but then I moved back here after that, and I went back home for one more time for like 3 years.
Mhm.
But most of my life, half of my life's been in California, half of my life's been in the South. I
Okay.
lived in Atlanta, Georgia for about 3.5 years. My dad still lives down there. My sister lives down there. But most of my life is here. I feel like half California, half Tennessean. I know this area of Nashville just like I know the Bay
Mhm.
Area, and I feel like it's just
It's
home,
your
just like the Bay
home.
Area
Yeah.
is. Totally different diversity culturally, but it's starting to become more culturally diverse here, particularly with even more Californians moving, leaving the West Coast and
Mhm.
coming, this way. Um, if you were to give a TED talk to a room of aspiring writers and authors who are concerned that they don't have what it takes to complete the book or that they're too old to even
Mhm.
start, what advice and encouragement would you offer them?
I would just tell them to trust the voice God is telling you. I think we second guess. I think, and I say God because that's my conviction, my personal conviction. But then there's some who's like their intuition. I personally believe that's your personal conviction. But trust your personal conviction. Don't think of the society norms, because if we do, society say when you turn a certain age, you too old to do anything. You're not beautiful anymore to act. You're not beautiful enough to rap or sing. It'll tell you so many things that you cannot do. And I would suggest just push past the society norm. They don't know. They create their own little bubbles, and but you know
Mm-hmm.
what you can do. You see your personal convictions, your human experience on a daily basis, and people are inspired by it. Like you, Johnny. I know when people see you, they know Johnny gonna be full of conversation, full of fun. That's just who you are. So if you listen to a society norm saying that, what I'm saying, you can't even transition careers at your age. I literally transitioned from doing hair to solely writing. I'm still in the newness of it, but I know that I can not only have it, something that I enjoy doing, but this could be also something that can help me take care of my family. I can't keep listening to people. I'm 46, and so someone might say to me, "Girl, you too old to be making these types of decisions." No, I'm not too old. I got to transition. With the transition, like someone made a comment. I was talking with a group of people, and they was talking about Michael Jackson. How he was the greatest of all time, and he really was the greatest of all time. But I also think, and this was a part of the conversation, that because of the society wanted to box him, he couldn't get out of that box, and it destroyed him in the end. Let that man be. But it was like, "I'm Michael Jackson, I gotta be the king of pop." What if you didn't want to be the king of pop no more? What if you wanted to be the king of Nashville?
Yeah.
Desire change. You are in control of saying, "My desire has changed, and I'm gonna do me."
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I will also say we got to be comfortable with when we make those decisions, though, being comfortable with what our yes mean and the consequences of what our no mean. If folks cut you off because you're saying yes or no, you got to be okay. Deep breathe in. Yeah, that's a boom. But you got to go, because I'm not going to let you stop me. So
Exactly.
comfortable with your yes and no, and keep it moving.
Exactly. I love that. I love that. You said something about not letting people stop you, not letting someone a societal norm
Mhm.
stop you. What somebody might think stop you. You said a friend might say, you too old to be making those kind of decisions.
Mhm.
What really is the phrase is we too old not to be making those decisions, because at some point we ain't gonna be
We ain't
here,
gonna
and
be.
then you
Mhm.
never gave yourself an opportunity to see what that side of life is like, you know.
Mhm.
And so, when you start feeling the pinch of, I'm getting up in age, there's a lot of things that I still desire to do that I haven't done. It's now is the time to
Mhm.
start doing them, because the older you get, the less likely you're actually going to feel like doing them or want to do them or even have the energy capacity to accomplish something. And so, revisit your dreams is all about
Yes.
encouraging you to go back to that place in your life where you said, I want to do this thing. And even now at your age, she just says she's 46, I'm 52. It doesn't matter how old
Mhm.
you are. I started this venture last year, and I'm not paying bots or nothing, just organic growth, just because it's something I want to do.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not getting paid for this. No, I don't have major sponsorships, nothing like that. It's just something I enjoy doing, inspiring people. And if you have something in your heart that you're passionate about doing, don't let a societal norm stop you from doing it. Don't let your friends talk you off
Mhm.
that path.
Mhm.
That Not necessarily all of my friends are on board. I don't know how they all feel about what I'm doing, but I'm not doing it for their approval either.
Mhm.
I'm doing it because this is what I like to
Mhm.
do, even if it's taking time from me away from my relationship with them, because this is something I want to do,
Mhm.
and it may not involve them. And it might mean you might have to restructure your life a little bit to get those things done. But like she said, it's okay if things have to fall by the wayside sometimes in order for you to make room for your dreams, and that's all the better for you.
Mhm. And Johnny, it's
So
coming. I'm
thank you for
telling you,
that.
people are watching you and you don't know. Like I said, when I got those awards, people were watching. I didn't know. Johnny, them sponsorships, they were, oh, we like Johnny. And one thing about us in our older years, we're not going to make we're not going to take devastating risks. We think now, if I did this at 20, money would have been lost, everything. It would have been some crazy stuff.
Really,
But
it wouldn't have been the right
no,
time.
but
Yep.
we move strategically when we're wiser and more mature, And so, yeah, Johnny, trust and believe something about to pop off with this podcast. I'm telling you, as far as someone just saying, I want to just give to you, Johnny. I'm telling you, don't even, you just keep doing what you're doing because this is amazing. You're allowing me, someone, to get my voice out to your community. Johnny, there are days, and I know as a creator, sometimes I just be like, God, all is about.
Yes, yeah.
All we know is that we love what we're doing. And
Exactly.
he's going to
Yeah.
lead the way, and it's going to be just fine. It's going to be beyond our wildest dreams.
Man, you're exactly right though. I mean, I love doing this. I love conversation. I mean, I actually like creating. So
Mhm.
editing gives me a opportunity to express my creativity in a visual way. I love doing that kind of stuff. But I do ask myself, like you said, sometimes like, where's all this going? Eventually, like, I mean, but I always ground myself with this is something I started because it's something I
Mhm.
want to do.
Mhm.
I am all about inspiring people and being inspired. So I started a platform where I can receive as much inspiration as I want to and share as much inspiration as I want to.
Yeah, and you're
That's what I did.
blessing me, Johnny, because again, this came like Miss Mo just mentioned this. She's like, "Oh, Kiana, I think this would be awesome." Johnny, that suggestion came from someone who cared for me, but I didn't know this was going to be an opportunity. And look,
Yeah.
an organic opportunity has showed up, and a blessing is going to come from this. I already know. So, and it's for you and me. So that's why I keep going. We
Absolutely.
don't know how this is going to work, but it's going to work.
Exactly. Because when people put their eyes on it, sometimes things that happen a year from now, 2 years from now, started today,
Yeah.
started next week. And then 2 years from now, now we finally see the realization of it. And that's the power of just getting started because you never know. You just have to put it out there. You have to put it out there in your own unique voice.
Yeah.
All right. We got a few more and we're getting toward the end, but we got a few more. Um, in 5 years, if Kiana Johnson could definitively determine her own fate, what does your life look like?
Johnny, I want to do what God say do. I feel like, and when you was mentioning about breakthrough, I'm really going to take that word seriously because I never heard that term associated with me. So I'm going to take it to heart. I believe that was for me to bless me today, but I feel like as grown into this whole minister of the gospel, but giving people the opportunity to be themselves. God blesses the authentic version of who we are. I learned that from someone, and it has blessed my life. Every time I feel like something is off or whatever, Kiana, don't you start shrinking. You got to be authentic. God blesses that version of you. I know the people who say you're supposed to be this way or religious or whatever. No, you be yourself. So I do see that this being a big, like my voice is going to be magnified. Sometimes I don't always think, Johnny, that I say the right, as far as articulation, but it never stopped nothing. So, you know what I'm saying? It never stopped anything. So I do see this taking off in a big way. I feel like I'm going to be talking to a lot of people, inspiring. I just see my biggest dreams coming to pass, and it involves uplifting people to be okay with who they are, who God made them to be, and you can produce. I just see me as a mass, somebody who just encourage mass production. And after you said breakthrough, I'm
Yeah.
taking that, Johnny. I'm helping
Yeah. Yeah.
breakthrough
Take it.
in the name of Jesus.
Man, so just straight inspiration. I told y'all off the top that she's inspiring. If you haven't been inspired by yet, then you're not looking for inspiration. You know, you're looking for something else, and you're not receiving it. But uh, I'm very inspired by that because you said I asked you specifically in 5 years, definitively, if you could determine your own fate, and you ended up, what would it be like in 5 years? You ended up saying I would still be doing what I was doing on a greater scale. It's pretty much what you
Yeah,
said. I'm gonna be doing what I'm doing on a bigger scale, inspiring people, helping other people express their voice. That shows authenticity. That shows a genuine nature of you, and it shows that you are what you present yourself to be. You know, when you walk into a room, Keianna Johnson, go no ghostwriters allowed. I'm helping people with their hair care. I'm inspiring people to write their books and tell their stories and being authentically them. And you know, it proceed. Your reputation is starting to precede you because if I go to your page, I don't see nothing but inspiration and family and you know, a spiritual foundation. That's all I see. And it's genuine
yeah.
because that's all I hear too. We getting ready to have some fun. All right. I don't like inviting guests onto the podcast and not having a little bit of fun with them. Although we've had several
Right.
laughs up to this point, you know, I like to play a game with all the guests that I have on this podcast. So I'm not gonna let you hop in the ride and
Right.
hop about the ride. You know what I'm saying? Without having some fun, revisit your dream style. So it's time for another edition of Off Top. Let's get it. All right, Kiana, here's how this goes. I give you the name of a person, place, or thing, and in less than 30 seconds, you tell me the first thing that comes to mind
Okay.
off top. Got it? All right, here we go. Off top, Madam C.J. Walker.
The hair queen, hair care queen.
Absolutely. Can you expand a little bit
She was just
on what that means to
innovative.
people who don't know who the hair care queen
Right. Well,
is?
I would say, just from my perspective, in a time where women did not have a voice, and then she's a black woman at that, creating, I don't even know if she thought that she was creating economic wealth. Maybe she thought she was helping her community, and it just took off. And I think that is inspiring to me because she
Mm-hmm.
did something that she wanted to make a difference. People, from my understanding, people going to work, women going to work and stuff, people got their hair done. And she was ensuring
Yeah.
that her community showed up according to what it was at that time, showed up proper at that
Yeah,
time.
yeah, absolutely. 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 Thank you for expanding upon that. I won't ask you to expand upon anything else, but I wanted you to expand upon that just because I know that you knew a little bit more about Madam CJ
Yeah.
Walker than she was just the hair care queen. All right. Off top, singer, model, actress, Grace Jones.
You're going to be like my husband. What?
You don't know who Grace Jones is?
I know, but I don't know
Okay.
what to say. Like, I don't know her. Like, all right, Johnny, I'm gonna be real quick with this. Like, my husband, he listened to oldies and all of that stuff. My mother was a radio,
Hmm.
uh, like she listened to radio, whatever was popping on the radio. So I don't really know oldie but goodies and all that stuff. So when he was like, Kiana, you don't know this person, I'm like, I know the song, I don't know the person.
if I showed you a picture of Grace Jones, I think you would recognize her.
Is she an actress?
Grace Jones, more than a singer, she's an
Okay.
actress. Yes, she's an actress. She's a start off as a model, then got into acting. She's very tall, very melanated, very elaborate hairstyles in her day. Whether you know back in the mid '80s for a black woman a black woman who was presenting themselves in model form, but to be present themselves completely bald, that was an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
Or for a black woman at that time to cut their hair in a box cut style like a man, that was an anomaly. Those are type of things that Grace Jones did, and I think one of the main reasons why she stood in people's memory is because of some of the elaborate styles, the ways she wore her hair, and when she wore wigs, she would wear these elaborate wigs, not just a wig with to present her face. No, it was a fashion statement. So I just thought that you might recognize
Don't try to
that
cancel me
from
now.
the hair care portion, but that's all right. That's all right. We hopefully you ain't gonna strike out, but
Right, they said, "Oh no, I'm done with her now."
no, we still going. She gonna get the rest of these. Watch this. Watch this. All right. Off top, the Crown Act.
The Crown Act is for sure a movement that has been sweeping throughout the country. It is very much needed. I haven't been keeping up with what's been going on lately, but what I do love about the Crown Act, they stand for everyone. Whether you're in the workplace, you should be able to wear your hair how you want to your job. It has absolutely nothing to do with your skills. Why are you discriminating against me concerning hair? When it comes down to schools, especially in my area, there are a lot of schools. You can't wear mohawks to school. You can't wear braids with color. You can't wear beads. All of these things are targeted towards our community. And the Crown Act stands up like, wait a minute, you can't get away with that. This you are now discriminating against someone. Someone should be able to go to school. You should be able to wrestle with locks in your hair without having to cut them out.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to play football. You should be able to do anything. Even when you think about ballerinas, they can't wear natural hair. They got to be straight and sleek and stuff. So, but what if someone wants to say, I want to be a ballerina and I don't want my hair pressed? I love
I want an afro blowout.
Right, so I love the Crown Act being that barrier to keep things in line. Like, no, you're not able to. It's almost like when the bullies stand up and then you got the middleman step in, like, no, you ain't about to be bullying my people over here. That's what I look at the Crown
Yeah.
Act as, and I thank God for the people who partner with the Crown Act, those in different parts of the country that are standing up against whatever is going on in their region, because a lot of these concerns are regional concerns. What happens in
Mm-hmm.
Maryland may not happen in Texas or New York. But I like that the Crown Act is sprinkled throughout the country, and it's going to continue to get bigger because the conversations around here and what is acceptable and what is not acceptable is still being had.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. How a person's hair grows is the way it grows. So how it looks to you shouldn't be of that much concern because they can't control every aspect of their hair growth without necessarily going to chemicalize and all these different
Mhm.
types of things. And you necessarily other nationalities, other cultures don't necessarily have to do all those same things to your hair. You don't have the same challenges necessarily to keeping your hair, in good condition or
Mhm.
keeping it looking good and keeping it healthy. So,
And what about
let us
those
be.
kids
Let
that
us
show with purple hair? They can come to
right.
school purple hair.
You
Black kid can't come to school purple
that's
hair.
good,
They
huh?
can't come to school. The rule is here in the DMV is this thing. If it's not a natural color, the hair will be. You can't color your hair like that and come to school like that. Why are you caring that much when there's a large percentage of children who cannot read? Why are you worrying
Exactly. Well,
about that? Your
focus on
focus need to be on literacy and
yeah.
mathematics and all of the things that's going to enhance these children to be better, into society. Y'all worrying about stuff that just doesn't make sense to me. So thank God for the Crown Act.
Thank God for the Crown Act for sure, for sure. All right. Next one. Off top, Jada Pinkett Smith.
Okay, she all right. I know she's an
You
actress.
don't have to be
She's just not
long.
my favorite right now, but that's just personal. But she's an actress, and she's authentic. She's having a conversation about alopecia now. I think that's where her platform is right now.
That's the main reason I put her on there,
Oh,
just to
for
see what you
alopecia,
might have to
yeah.
say relation about
Mhm.
that. But that's okay, yeah. And I know that she is some, there could be
Yeah,
controversial. She could be a controversial figure in today's time because of some of the different things she said or done. In her marriage, those type of things. I don't get into the messiness of it. I was just seeing what your take is.
right.
Some people, hey, and I'm glad it shows that you are authentic. You didn't just say, well, you didn't try to give a pretty answer. You're like, well, she ain't my
Right.
favorite right now, but hey, she telling her story about alopecia. That's good. She's a good actress. That's honest. That's what I love about it. All right, off top, Baltimore Ravens or Washington Commanders.
I have to choose the Commanders. Even though the Ravens probably do way better, the Washington Commanders, like they are our home team. And even though they stress us out every time we watch it, we just each year just sign up to be stressed out. But yeah, I have to choose the Commanders.
That's dope. I'm glad you had an option. I'm glad that you could have just said, I don't even watch football.
No,
I don't
here's
know.
the
But
thing.
so
I really don't, but because the home team is like it's a
I get
culture
it.
thing here. And the funny
I
part,
get it.
Baltimore is not that far. Like we're right
Right.
here, but it's two different worlds. Baltimore.
That's why I asked. That's why I asked because I know that football culture is real big. I know the
Mhm,
two areas are real close to one another. I know the teams don't have too far of proximity, and there's a lot of times, your allegiance is to one or the other
mhm.
based on either where you grew up or whatever, how long you've been a fan of one or the other. But thank you for that. All right, Washington Commanders on her end. All right, off top, author of the book My Leadership Legacy, Miss Monica
Oh, she
Shotwell.
is a legendary coach. She has trained people all over the world on how to be better at their jobs. And so, Miss Monica Shockwell, that's my heart. That's my boo.
We I second that tape. Not my boo,
I know
but
what
you
you
know what I'm
mean.
saying. I love Miss Monica Shotwell too,
Legendary.
just
And
like
she
you do.
loves people. It's one thing to learn
Yes,
from somebody,
yes.
but when somebody loves you, hold your hand and be like, you're crashing out, but we're going to change that for you.
That's exactly Miss Mo, man. 100%. She ain't getting ready to leave. She gonna watch you crash
Right.
out and then be like, "Baby, you done crashing out? Now let me show you how
Let
we
me
need to
show
do
you
it
how
now."
we behave.
All right, last one. Off top. This might be a little heavier, but off top. Gerrymandering.
It's a lot. And I'm just going to, what they say, plead the fifth.
One thing you guys don't have to deal with at least that much up there
Mhm,
is the gerrymandering
mhm,
politics. You're definitely dealing with
mhm.
politics, and maybe you're dealing with gerrymandering politics just in a different way that we don't see it like the term gerrymandering is defined. But yeah, in the South here is definitely uh, a thing all over the southern states. Some of the states are starting to um, look the other way and say we're not going to go down that road, which I think is great. I also know that it's not necessarily genuine. It's just you know
Just playing
uh,
the game.
benefit. Yeah, as long as it's benefiting one side, then
Mhm.
if it benefits me over here, then okay, I can let that slide instead of just let it be. Let people vote, let people represent themselves and have a voice and you know, I ain't gonna
Yeah,
go there.
I know because I could go on, and then my face start turning to an evil face.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
yeah, 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 yeah.
difficult.
And
It's just difficult to just watch what's happening. And I think the more frustrating part of it is this was presented some time ago. How do we end up here now? Like, and still this, like, what is happening? So I just be like, Lord have mercy. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I think something's gonna shake though. I just firmly
Mhm.
believe in my heart of hearts and in my spirit that um it looks bad, but the result of what's gonna eventually happen as a result of it is gonna be totally what they don't
Yeah.
expect, what they're not expecting.
And they
And
gotta pay
and I
attention
and that's
to
gonna be better
people's
for everybody.
language today. People are talking a lot and they trying to change how people talk. Like there was a season where people were like, we're not our ancestors. And now it's other conversations that's kind of similar to that. People, the straw is breaking the camel's back. So while folks are playing games with things, there are a large group of people who are not playing. And so then what are you going to do? That's putting everybody at risk because y'all playing. And so I just be like, so the intercessor got to kick
Yeah.
in and start praying. Stop praying.
I didn't mean to leave the heaviness on your heart at the end of this
No,
episode or at
it
the
is
end of this
good. I like it, Johnny.
segment, but
Honestly, this game was good, because again, we got to talk about it. We can't always shy. I keep Johnny being honest. Like because I am so open and talking and stuff. One of the things I get nervous about, I was like, Lord, please don't let the people cancel me because I can't help it. Like I have to tell the truth. And I'm not
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
lie.
yeah,
And,
you're
and
not gonna
again,
get
like as we're
canceled.
saying, people are just saying and doing things for the nature of being politically correct, and it's not helping.
Right. I think everyone, whether they say it verbally or not, desires authenticity
Mhm,
and respects authenticity, whether they say it verbally or not. They might tell you you shouldn't have said that. And in their heart, they're saying, man, she was courageous enough to say that. I wish I had that much
mhm.
courage, Thank you, Kiana, for being courageous, for being authentic, and expressing your true voice. You've been very genuine on this episode. You've been very transparent, and so inspiring. I hope, audience, that you've been inspired by Miss Kiana Johnson. We're gonna wrap it up here. And I'm going to give you the opportunity, Kiana, to share with our audience anything that you'd like to share with them. Feel free to promote your business, your products, your book. Tell people where they can find you, where they can go buy your book, and how they can support you. The floor is yours.
Well, first I want to say thank you so much, Johnny, for this invitation. This was fun. This was like genuinely a fun conversation. You all, thank you for joining us. But you can find me on Instagram. Instagram and Facebook are my land. Like I am. I know it's so many other platforms, but I really like Instagram, Facebook. So you can find me on Instagram, Kiana underscore Johnson. And then the same on Facebook, Kiana Johnson. You'll see me there. You can follow me. And then when you follow me, you'll see the little links in what is that, on Instagram and links in the bio. So my website is there if you would like to take any of the coaching sessions that I have. I have an encouragement session where you just want some encouraging words. You don't want to tell your family and friends about something. You just need somewhere to just get encouraged or to kind of flush out an idea. It can be a one time thing or it can be continual. I offer encouragement sessions, author coaching for those who are ready to start their authorship journey. You ready to write your book, or if you already written your book, you need editing service. You can get coaching there, and then writing coaching. Not necessarily no. So writing and the authorship is together, but the public speaking is not like your typical public speaking. It's just helping you to embrace your authentic voice. And if you have a speaking engagement coming up, but you want help with structuring your speaking assignment, you can also take that service as well, that coaching service. And you'll find that on my website in the little links in the bio. So you'll see it there. And that's pretty much it, Johnny. Thank you. Oh, and coming of age, you can find that on Amazon at this time. So Amazon,
Show
Barnes
them
and
again.
Noble, yeah, Books a Million, whatever platform online, you can purchase it there.
Show them the book again.
Yes.
Show them the book again.
And the power of
There
prayer
you
and the
go.
war
Coming of
within will be out
age.
soon, y'all. It really will be out soon, soon, soon.
If you have a black teenage daughter or young child daughter that has natural hair, you need that book in your household. If you have a young son, you can also find tips for that book. And she's coming out with something special for the young men very soon. So tap into Kiana Johnson. She gave you all of where you can find her at. Thank you so much, Kiana, for joining us on
Thank
the
you.
ride today. This was great. I really enjoyed the time. I genuinely enjoyed your
Me
conversation. I
too.
genuinely enjoyed being inspired by you while I'm sitting here. And once I go through the editing process, because I have to review the video over again, I just keep getting inspired all over again. So I appreciate it so much, so much. We are excited about what's happening in season 4. So thank you guys for tapping in with us. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Revisit Your Dreams. We have just surpassed the mark of 150 subscribers and pushing toward 200 subscribers. Hopefully we get there before the end of season 4, but I don't really count so much the subscribers as much. I just acknowledge each of you. So thank you for engaging with us. Thank you for believing in this channel enough to hit the subscribe button, knowing that we're going to come back and provide you some good material each and every week. Thank you so much. And if you know someone who is still on their journey, on a pursuit of their dreams, you should encourage them to keep going, to keep pursuing that dream, to keep striving for greatness until their dreams are realized, because you never know when that dream might be a dream that helps all of us. So tap into Revisit Your Dreams channel and our podcast for more episodes, more inspiring conversation. And as a reminder, our shows air each Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time for everybody out there on the West Coast. We want to thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you again real soon on another episode of Revisit Your Dreams.
Bye,
One
everyone.
love. We out. Take this big water.
Okay, yeah, me
Always.
too.
We can
Johnny, I
start.
need so I do have a book, but I don't have it. It's in the back behind me. Do I need that
Go
or
get
no?
you. Feel free to get it, because anytime you could show something to the camera in the course of you talking, is just more interest, and it's validating what we're
Okay,
talking
hold on.
about,
Let me
who you
grab it
are, the
real
fact
quick.
that you
It's
have a
literally right
tangible
there,
book that's
Johnny. One
already.
second.
Yeah, get that. Yeah.